Kwashiorkor and Marasmus are diseases of severe malnutrition. Kwashiorkor is caused by a deficiency of protein, while Marasmus results from a deficiency of all nutrients, or in other words, a total caloric deficiency. It can be hard to keep these diseases straight, so I'm going to give you a visual way to organize this information so you'll be ready for test day. I hope you're hungry, because this scene takes place inside a nature-themed restaurant. You know, kind of like the Rainforest Cafe, but with Australian wildlife, because koalas are really cute. See the koala here, hanging from this tree? Coincidentally, this koala helps me remember Kwashiorkor, because koala sounds a lot like Kwashiorkor. The Kwashiorkor koala. Nice. After being stuck in the restaurant for so long, these koalas have developed a taste for human food, especially steak. Notice how our koala is reaching for a bit of steak, served on that huge platter. You know how these fancy restaurants always serve tiny amounts of food on huge plates? The tiny bit of food on a huge plate is our symbol for malnutrition, because who comes out of these restaurants feeling well nourished? And this koala is reaching for meat, because Kwashiorkor results from protein deficiency. Get it? A small steak for protein deficiency? Because meat has protein. Did I really need to explain that? Next, notice how the waiter has a big swollen belly. Actually, both our koala and waiter have big swollen bellies. This picture reminds me of the classic clinical presentation of Kwashiorkor, a small child with a big swollen belly. Instead of memorizing this fact, let me explain to you why this happens. The swelling actually results from edema, which can be explained by the protein deficiency in Kwashiorkor. Recall how proteins, especially albumin, create oncotic pressure that keeps fluid inside the bloodstream. In Kwashiorkor, deficient protein levels causes a reduction in albumin levels, which in turn causes fluid to leak out of the blood in a process called edema. The classic location for edema in Kwashiorkor is the belly, which you can just remember as our waiter's big belly here. Next, take a look at our koala's light fur patch. This light patch should remind you of skin lesions, which are observed in Kwashiorkor. Specifically, hyperkeratosis and dyspigmentation can occur. How protein deficiency leads to skin lesions is actually a pretty complicated process, but the basic premise is a reduction in enzymes necessary for skin function. Just remember skin lesions by picturing our koala's fur patch, and you'll be set for test day. Afterwards, shift your gaze left towards the bar. Someone's ordered an upscale classic, foie gras. For the uninitiated, foie gras is a French dish made of fatty liver, which is exactly what this represents here. In Kwashiorkor, reduced protein levels also reduce apolipoprotein synthesis, causing fatty change inside the liver. To understand why this happens, recall how apolipoproteins are important in exporting lipids like VLDL from the liver to the rest of the body. Without apolipoproteins, the liver cannot export lipids, resulting in accumulation of this fat inside the liver. On liver biopsies, this fatty change can be visualized as many vacuoles on microscopy. Just picture our plate of foie gras to remember that fatty change of the liver occurs in Kwashiorkor. But no bar would be complete without a beverage, right? Looks like someone's recently enjoyed a glass of Bloody Mary. The drinks here are really good, and you can tell because someone's nearly finished their entire Bloody Mary. The low level of this blood red drink kinda reminds me of anemia. Get it? An empty Bloody Mary for anemia. Anemia in Kwashiorkor can be explained by protein deficiency, since one of the main building blocks of hemoglobin is globin, which is a protein. Protein deficiency leads to decreased globin levels, which in turn inhibit the production of red blood cells. Alright, I'm done waiting by the bar. I hope we get a table soon, because I'm starving here. Just look at that couple seated by the table. The woman is wearing a ton of Marasmus. Mascara. Just look at all that mascara running down her face. I don't know what they're fighting about, but it must have been a pretty big fight. Anyhow, this mascara is our symbol for Marasmus. While I don't know what they're arguing about, I would be sad in her place as well. Just look at her plate. The plate looks balanced with greens, carbs, and proteins, but the tiny amount of food in it is almost criminal. How is anyone supposed to feel well nourished off that? This balanced but tiny meal is our symbol for total caloric deficiency, since marasmus is caused by inadequate intake of all nutrients, not just protein. Finally, let's take a look at our male companion's meal. It's just a bone with tiny scraps of meat. Not a lot left here. The meat scraps should remind you of the muscle wasting that occurs in marasmus. The lack of total energy in marasmus causes loss of muscle mass, also known as muscle wasting. The buzzword muscle wasting is high yield, so remember it for your exam. And that's it for Kwashiorkor and marasmus. Let's recap real quick. Kwashiorkor is a disease caused by protein deficiency, resulting in swelling of the belly, skin lesions, fatty change of the liver, and anemia. Contrastingly, marasmus is caused by a deficiency of all nutrients, or a total caloric deficiency. The classic clinical finding in marasmus is muscle wasting. Man, this meal didn't fill me up at all. I'm still hungry for more knowledge. Maybe I'll go watch more Pixarized videos. Until next time.